Hey there, fellow wanderers. As you find yourself drifting through the winding paths of history, imagine the sensory tapestry of medieval life embracing you. The air is thick with the raw scent of wood smoke drifting from the thatched roofs, mingling indelibly with the stronger, earthier aromas of livestock and the more pungent undertones of unkempt streets. Your skin prickles with the chill of the morning mist, the damp air curling around your neck as shadows gather in the corners of stone buildings that line the muddy paths. The sounds are a distant murmur, the soft bleating of sheep, the rhythmic clanging of a blacksmith's hammer, and the muted chatter of villagers beginning their day. This is not a fairy tale, nor is there a romantic glow to guide you. No, what you feel are the echoes of everyday burdens, worn by those like you bound by duty, necessity, and a relentless clockwork of obligations. So, before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. Now, imagine yourself waking up, the scratchy wool of your rough-spun blanket slightly damp from the chill morning air. You rub sleep from your eyes, feeling the grit of yesterday's labor that never seems to wash away completely. As a medieval steward, your senses are your compass, and your days dictated by them, each smell, each sound guiding you through the labyrinthine duties that await. If you think your automated reminders and calendars are stressful, picture the constant alerts that cannot be silenced. The rooster's call, the creaking gates, the chatter of kitchen maids. And oh, the smells, should I paint them for you again? Just imagine baking bread, mingling with less than pleasant dovecote odors, 1 minute fragrant, the next, not so much. Even with all the senses alive, the overriding scent in your world as a steward is hard work. It is the labor that has etched itself into the wooden tables smoothed from years of use in the manor hall. It is embedded in the dirt paths and carved into the hearts of the people you oversee. And speaking of the manor, you might want to keep a handkerchief handy. No matter how grand or small, every corner holds its smell, and not all are pleasant surprises. It's a reminder, like your everyday pains from physical labor, that you are very much alive and burdened every moment with the responsibilities that are part of your existence. As you trudge across the courtyard, a low moan of a wooden cartwheel echoes in the brisk dawn. It's a sound punctuated by the butcher's hurried strides leading to the kitchen. It's almost amusing, really, that such quaint settings come paired with such pungent aromas. Was that sheep or last night's stew? Another great mystery in a day filled with them. Humor aside, what others might dismiss as offensive, you take in stride because, in this life, you have no choice. You walk past it all, checking supplies, ensuring the larders are stocked and the fires lit before the lord and lady arise to claim the better scents for themselves. Let's not forget the court physician's prescribed concoctions, their herbal brews so kindly remedying ailments with hints of rosemary, sage, and more than a bit of something questionable. Ah, medieval medicine, a blessing and a cursed scent, all in one. It does make you ponder, how did anyone survive the era at all? As for the leather-making tannery just outside town for the sake of a peaceful pastoral image, maybe it's best not to linger on that smell. Historians still argue whether these day-to-day discomforts worked subtly to spur innovation, as necessity sharpened both olfactory and problem-solving skills as much as anything else. Crocodile dung sunscreen, anyone? But I digress. Amid the overwhelming bouquet of medieval life, you stewards had another sensory cue to heed. Ah yes, the church bells. Their peal is your clock. They remind you of the call to matins and to the duties of another exhausting day. In contemplating why it truly sucked to be a medieval steward, think of it as being the conductor of an orchestra with broken instruments. Every player, human and livestock, must work together in a cacophonous symphony. You grow adept at interpreting the language of groans and creaks from the manor beams just as well as the grumbles of disgruntled peasants. It's inherently clear. If life is a tapestry of scents, sounds, and sensations, your role is to weave it into something manageable for the good of all. And so, under the weight of these tangible smells and sounds, you bear the intangible weight of leadership and perseverance. Walking those ancient grounds every day, touching, smelling, hearing the visceral echoes of history with each breath, becomes your life's rhythm. With a nod to those invisible burdens, you set your mind to focus on today's challenges. Ahead lies more than just work. There lies testament to resilience, something magnificent to be achieved, even amid the varied textures and aromas of a medieval morning. The morning mist still hangs low as you begin your day, weaving through the dimly lit corridors of your own importance. Your life, as the medieval steward, is less the dazzling solo of a heroic figure and more the anchoring bass line in the symphony of manor life. Despite lacking the flair or titles of higher nobility, your responsibilities intertwine themselves into every nook of the feudal hierarchy. You are the foreman of this medieval orchestra, always watching, always balancing, ensuring each note knits together into a semblance of harmony. Imagine waking up each morning, not to the question of what do I want to do today, but rather, how will I tackle today's overwhelming list? The role of the steward was, in many ways, perilously close to being an unsung hero. Your duties, as vast as they are endless. Each day, you shoulder the unenviable task of maintaining the balance between the expectations of your lord and the needs of the people under your care. And don't start fantasizing about leisurely strolls through your domain. What awaits you is actually a marathon of demands and duties. Your first duty as steward? Land management, of course. The literal ground beneath your feet is land that, though owned by your lord, becomes your responsibility. You oversee crop rotations and ensure good yield from the peasant farmers by striking the delicate dance between demand and sustainability. This isn't just ploughing fields and harvesting grain. Oh no, it's negotiating seeds and soil with farmers who, while largely accepting of their lot, offer all the cooperation of a recalcitrant mule. Then there's the livestock, all of which need your constant oversight. Have you ever considered negotiating with sheep? As a steward, you manage the lips and hooves of every creature grazing the surly commons. Is there a comedic twist here? Only if you find stubborn sheep and cantankerous cows amusing, though they bring more headaches than heartwarming tales. Historians often debate the exact scope of a steward's authority, finding discrepancies from manor to manor. Sometimes you might find yourself in charge of local justice, overseeing discipline among the serfs, meting out fines or corporal punishment to restore order, or more accurately, to maintain the facade of order amid chaos. The weight of your duty doesn't stop at punishing errant peasants. Nope, it extends to the intricacies of medieval accounting, an oxymoron, some would say. Without modern calculators or software, you must maintain ledgers with the possibility of scribal error ever looming. Quintals and bushels, acres, and hide your kingdom of numbers is as vast as any. Ensuring accurate records in this pre-decimal world drives you to sometimes question the whereabouts of a certain abacus. And while the clinking of coins sounds promising, collecting rents and taxes from the peasants is less a jolly errand and more comparable to extracting teeth. Those coins you gather are either cold and compliant or heated, with friction often requiring you to tread carefully through a mire of grumbling payers and ancient grudges. Then comes your social work, administering resources wisely among those under your supervision. Food, fuel, and community welfare all blend under your meticulous guidance. The still morning air becomes laden with questions of rationing and resource allocation, heavy with the knowledge that any mistake could herald disaster. That baker? He needs grain. The blacksmith? Iron. The villagers? A good prince to lead them, or at least a promise from you that tomorrow will be better. It's not all toil, though. Amidst the bureaucratic hurdles, occasionally you sip cool ale at local gatherings, or stand in the shadow of knights and dames, soaking up the courtly drama. It's less of a lavish soiree, and more a cleverly managed juggling act, trying to keep everyone moderately happy without stretching resources too thin. Being a medieval steward is, in essence, a waltz along the tightrope of the feudal hierarchical complex, interwoven dance of responsibility, expectation, and ground-level diplomacy. And sure, while it might not include slaying dragons or securing treaties, it certainly speaks to a certain endurance of spirit. You, armed with paper, ink, and the occasional witty retort, maintain the orderly chaos that sustains the beating heart of medieval life. And thus, as the sun sets on your long, daintily sheets finished and complaints managed, you walk back through the manor's winding halls, finally able to exhale. Your efforts might not be sung by bards, nor your deeds immortalized in stone, yet each ripple you create ensures continuity, shaping the land as surely as any plough. Rest easy. The delicate balance waits for you again tomorrow. After all, in the medieval world, the true estate is never fully at rest. You awake to another day in the life of a medieval steward, where every waking moment is poised on the precipice of chaos, staring down at you with all the urgency of 1,000 bleating sheep. As the sun scratches its way through the early morning mist, your feet find the ground, greeted by the cold stone floor that grounds you well before the rooster sets the square abuzz. Before your mind fully shakes free of sleep's cobwebs, you're already thinking of the day's list, a scroll of obligations and responsibilities. Your wardrobe consists of humble, well-worn garments, practicality chosen over ostentation by necessity. As you dress, you can almost hear the manor stirring to life around you. The thud of a dropped ladle from the kitchen, a muttering in the servants' quarter-sits, a dialogue of ordinary sounds that form the backdrop of your day. And as you step out into the courtyard, the fresh air takes you in its brisk embrace, laden with the scent of damp earth and straw underfoot. First, you prioritize the chores, according to urgency and instinct honed through years of practice. At the top of the day's list, the livestock, because if not attended to, they assert their presence in none too subtle ways. Whisper a little prayer that the sheep have not decided to stage a rebellious exit overnight. Oh, the joy that is animal husbandry. There's a rhythm to counting heads of cattle and flocks of sheep, like a benediction over each woolly miracle. A few grunts and bleats confirm their dissatisfaction with your management, but all is in order, yet you know to expect surprises are lurking around every corner. You might not have to retrieve a runaway piglet today, but let's just say those odds aren't in your favor. Next up, a visit to the larder to confirm that supplies align with your carefully balanced inventories. The cook is busy already, cursing something about the inconsistent heat of the hearth, another conundrum you'll add to today's growing list of tasks. But first, bread must be baked, and the first meal of the day waits for no idle chat. The aroma of last evening's stew still hangs in the air, mingling with the yeasty promise of breakfast loaves, a fragrance both comforting and demanding. Paperwork, that ever-present shadow of your duties, beckons next. A steward's day might begin at dawn, but continues long after the sun has set. Your records demand methodical attention, ledgers, balancing harvest yields, fines collected, and ongoing bits of litigation involving minor disputes among the villagers. It's the medieval version of overseeing a sprawling corporation, with fewer spreadsheets and considerably more ink stains. Of course, no day would be complete without diplomacy. A group of villagers waits uneasily by the hall, caught in a dispute over grazing boundaries, of all things. You wield words as one might a shield, deflecting blame and cultivating calm where tempers flare. Yet, amidst the rabble and finger-pointing, you find solutions that seem almost magical, a land lease tweak here, a gentle admonition there, and, surprisingly, peace returns, for a moment anyway. Historians still argue whether the steward's negotiating skills were born from necessity or natural charisma. Your next stop is the fields, where you are met by the rhythm of manual labor. You guide the farmers, double-checking crop rotations, and avoid the errant plough-shoveling marginal ground. It's serendipity when the sun chooses this precise moment to break through, gilding the careful furrows with golden promise, a reminder that nature often ignores mortal concerns. The sun's climb across the sky reminds you of the afternoon gathering of local merchants. They're here to discuss market prices and recent bartering. You listen, nodding along to their tales of daring trades and cautious investments, inserting a word of advice where it's prudent. There's austerity in this kind of brokerage, striking deals over wheels of cheese and sacks of barley, dreaming not of gold but of overabundant yields. As the day winds to its latter hours, you begin to feel the weight of the day's efforts settle into your bones. You touch base with the assistant, overseeing messenger dispatches, ensuring that your lord's orders and a few of your own notions reach their destinations beyond the manor. Messages are timely engineered cogs in your clockwork world, each tied with twine and wax sealed with care. Returning to the heart of the manor, evening's routine greets you warmly, the overlapping scents of supper mingling with a hint of spent candle wax as the dining hall readies itself for the night's fair company. After all, boarders need feeding as much as books need balancing, and you check token details that might otherwise go amiss, a child's tear here, a good-humoured jest at the next. Finally, your day concludes not with glories or revelries, but with a quiet satisfaction, swelling of pride woven through the small triumphs and careful, judicious decisions. You unwind by the hearth, ink-stained fingers beating a gentle tattoo on worn wood, the outer world growing dim as you adjust the equally medieval equivalent of a spreadsheet's last numbers. The world of the medieval steward is neither glamorous nor simple, but amidst all the toil and meticulous guardianship, it's a life that paves a path not only for survival, but for the upcoming dawns. And with that, you find sleep, a gentle respite until dawn beckons once more. As the first light of dawn spills across the horizon, casting long shadows that reach into the crevices of your medieval manor, you are reminded of the invisible scaffolding that props up your world. This is the feudal system, a complex hierarchy that governs every aspect of life, down to the stone on which you tread. To an outsider, these hierarchies might resemble nothing more than an elaborate chess game, but for you, as a steward, understanding every piece, every move, and every potential stalemate is essential. You stand near the manor's threshold, glancing over the open fields that roll out like a faded tapestry. Your mind maps the estates under your watch, tenants, freeholders, and villeins, each with their specific obligations and tie to the land. The sun casts a golden sheen on the serfs, still emerging from the mist to toil in the fields. Each holds a place in a tightly knit network of responsibilities and allegiances. They, like you, are part of a hierarchy where every role, no matter how menial, upholds the fragile balance of medieval life. Your position in this social web is one of both privilege and pressure. You occupy a middle ground between the ruling lord and the labouring serfs, a mediator of demands, a translator of grievances, a keeper of promises. The sphere of influence you wield as a steward extends both upward and downward, requiring you to be as adept at managing your superiors as you are at leading those beneath you. The dual nature of your role pushes your skills, political manoeuvring, and public speaking to their utmost limit. Maintaining the feudal order requires constant vigilance, an awareness of the delicate dance of power around you. It's a little like juggling while riding unicyclically, a skill set both absurd and admirably enviable. All this while ensuring the manor runs efficiently and the needs of your lord are met swiftly and without fuss. Now, when one often thinks of picture-perfect medieval times, it's clinking goblets in grand feast halls, but what's often overlooked is the straining backstory of a steward's servitude. You are no mere bureaucrat, tickling quills in dusty ledger covers among cobwebbed hallways. Your position demands dexterity of schedule and decisive consultations with surrounding vassals and estates. Historians continue to debate the role of the steward's sway over land decisions, whether they were akin to a prime minister to the lord, or acted more as a puppeted marionette, free only to dance where strings allowed. Perhaps it's both, as you balance deference and directive on a tight-roped wire of expectation. Every decision you make influences the entire manor's ecosystem, where to plant new wheat, when to rotate crops, how best to manage labor and resources. These aren't mere administrative tasks, they're deeply tied to the well-being of hundreds. Your strategies affect the food on their tables and the very roof over their heads. Your vantage point allows you to see the larger picture, to plan beyond the day-to-day grind, always vigilant for signs of unrest that might ripple through the system. And speaking of unrest, you remember. The villagers gather today to air grievances, common occurrence, yet always accompanied by the undercurrent of something more significant left unsaid. Their issues, though at times mundane, hint at larger trends in the feudal system, shifts in weather, unexpected tithes, rumours of distant wars. As tensions fluctuate between landowners and workers, your role often tips towards that of arbiter. Over in the manor hall, the lord is engaging with his trusted knights, perhaps plotting new fealties to secure his standing or discussing broader alliances. You would be required to partake in such meetings too, often called upon to offer counsel or organize the next great event for neighboring lords. You're not just an observer in this grand theatre of politics. You are part of the moving machinery, your actions helping to grease the gears of the intricate societal clockwork. While it's easy to be overawed by the grandeur and politics of the elite, it's the quiet acts of negotiation, compromise, and sheer elbow grease that make village life pivot peacefully around you. Though you don't wield a sword or wear a crown, your influence is felt everywhere, from the stables to the great hall. Thus continues your day, in the shadow of medieval hierarchies. As the day closes, and the last rays of sunlight wane, you find a moment of quiet reflection, your service invisible, yet impactful, a foundational cornerstone in the robust, multi-layered structure of feudal society. You take solace that for all its demanding challenges, your role carries weight in these times, a silent, yet crucial gravitas that ensures that the entire edifice doesn't just crumble under neglect or misgestures. With these thoughts making their familiar rounds, you prepare for the adventures and negotiations promised by tomorrow's dawn. Ah, another dawn rises, gilding the aged stones of the manor with the promises and perils of a new day, a day full of counting and accounting. You step out, greeted by the rhythmic clanging of a faraway blacksmith's hammer, mingling with the staccato calls of traders setting up for market day. The scene is yet another reminder of your pivotal role, steering the manor's economic course through the ever-changing tides of medieval money matters. Currency, in your medieval world, is as enigmatic as any alchemist's Cyphera patchwork of coins from different regions, each possessing its own weight and value. Silver pennies, florins, and ducats clink together in your mind as you mentally calculate rates of exchange. It's a task demanding all the mental agility of an abacus, albeit without its surety. You've learned not only to juggle these in your pockets, but also to keep relationships in balance, something as weighty as any tangible coinage. The manor's coffers, though sparse, serve as the lifeblood of your realm. Within those wooden boxes lies the crucial funding for upkeep, wages, purchases, and more. Your head acts as the manor's ledger, storing every last expense and income deposits from tenants, tolls from travellers, stipends demanded by the lords. You calculate rents owed and fees collected, a balancing trick that takes equal parts nuance and toughness. Your morning kicks off with a daunting task, to reconcile this month's accounts. The hall echoes softly as you pore through parchment, scroll-sewn eye on the ledger, the other on ink that flows as if it were wine, tracing the tallies of grain stored just meters away, as well as pocketing the odd coin that tax miscalculations might spill. The income stems from varied sources beyond rents and tenancies. Tolls levied at the village's entry, assessments against produce deemed not of standard quality, or payments in kind of fatted calf, barrels of sideral funnel into your financial labyrinth. The job of ensuring these dealings section clearly on more deceitful codes, like the wine tax's unforeseen mismanagement, perhaps entices more than that gout-inflicting cask hoarded in the corner. Yet the trading involves more abstractions than coins alone. Swapping goods and favours weave into the economic tapestry, and subjects have equal fluidity when currency loses its lustrous gleam. One might exchange wool for grain or promise allegiance in return for a steady supply of ale. It's a tangled web fraught with all the cheerful complicity of an extortionate merchant. Historians still argue whether stewards exercised undue influence over these transactions, their handouts shaping local economy in self-serving ways, or if they were genuinely just cogs, unspooling honest craft in a pre-industrial machine. In truth, you well know these exchanges require the utmost diplomacy, for the manor's prosperity relies not merely on counting copper, but also on counting allies. Through a cluttered reception of hand-wringing tenants, hoping to appeal for rent reductions due to poor yields or familial misfortune, you stand firm, seeing quietly beyond their performances to assess needs from plaints against opportunistic deception. Gauging this moral economy in an age devoid of welfare? Well, not everyone has the proficiency of an unguided economist like yourself. By midday, your enterprise shifts towards outward negotiations, courting traders keen to barter in bulk, or those from neighbouring estates eager to discuss joint protection and patrol arrangements. They speak in the informal contracts of spoken word, sealed by a clap of hands, their dialects rich with implicit agreements and dangers. An unexpected offer is tabelled, a novel commodity, new to your lands. Silk, they call it, fine threads, woven so supple that it glimmers like moonlit water. Temptation to trade is strong. It'll fetch a handsome price at tomorrow's market. But, prudent in the face of gold-tongued merchants, you defer judgment like any sage versed in coindom, uncertain whether the delicate fabric might tear too swiftly in the rugged lives that demand more robust wear. As the sun dares dip into the west, you arrive back at the manor, mentally weighing coinage, stock, and sustenance. You find an unlikely camaraderie in grains of sand falling with hourly precision through your mental ledger, inspecting a curious clinking matched by its own symphonic ting of shadowy pouches washed in today's successful market conclusion. Yes, finance loops are threaded tight with each balancing arch. You carry the scrolls to the fire's warm hearth, where you finally close your accounts for the day, with dew and ink fingers and the beginnings of a smile. Your region's economy ebbs and flows, yet assures one constant theme. Whether in whispered exchanges across bustling market stalls or crunching numbers beneath flickering candlelight, merchandising remains the ever-present puppet show, and you the nimblest hands beneath its drape. Yet, all said and handled, it asks less for future countenance under such uncertain skies. And so, under the keen, ever-watchful gaze of stars above, you are reminded that being a steward in these times is not merely accountancy, but a mastery of survival, whether wrestled from uncertainty by quills over parchment or hushed bargains formed of the very air you breathe and sustenance you hold dear. The manor is already stirring, its residents emerging into the morning's grey light as thin mists cling to the fields. As steward, the beating heart of your daily concern rests in ensuring that these fields burst with life. Ensuring the manor's food supply is, after all, an enterprise whose risk lies heavier than any other. The cycles of sowing and reaping shape your days and nights as much as the positions of the sun and stars. You head down to the granary, where the earthy scent of straw mingles with the dust of countless harvests. It's warmer inside, a refuge from the chill of the unwarmed outdoors. Before you lies a record of abundance or scarcity, the stocks of grain, preserved fruit, salted meats, and root vegetables arrayed in their sturdy bins. The capacity of this storehouse could spell the difference between a winter spent in comfort or desperation. Your first task is to conduct a thorough inventory. Candles flicker in the dim light as you slide open the heavy wooden doors of the larder. A quick scan reveals most of the bins are filled well enough, but several others seem less than satisfactory to your trained eye, at least. The past season's yield was ill-lit by both blessed sun and forgotten rains. Yet, such capricious resources require your steadfast hand in ensuring everyone's share is meted fairly. It isn't just about overseeing what is physically present, but planning for what comes next. Calculations swirl in your mind. What quantities suffice until the next harvest? How much is reserved for emergencies? And heaven forbid, in case of a failed harvest, is there a contingency plan to avert famine? With each crate of apples spied or wheat bag lifted, you balance numbers in your head, always aware that your Lord's goodwill might not overcome a poor season. The task of preserving food for lean times is storied and sage. Stored apples wrapped in straw, casks of salted fish, and meat robbed of its spoiling rights through smoking over well-regulated fires. Every element of preservation is nuanced, requiring not only time but skill. It's quite a paradoxical delight, storing bounty harvested by others and preserving it for times when luck's wheel turns less favorably. But raw goods alone do not sustain. You are simply the steward. Culinary expertise lies elsewhere, yet keeping the kitchen supplied with requisite ingredients to meet the manor's needs falls firmly within your purview. This means coordinating arrangements with local farmers, specialists in their crops and trade, and ensuring that all agreements made are delivered. It's no casual marketplace banter, but a thorough dance across negotiation, barter, and trust. Historians still debate whether stewards were indeed the unsung architects of agricultural development, quietly fostering innovations like the introduction of crop rotation or new tools. Whether or not that reputation sticks, you can sense that guardianship goes beyond mere subsistence. The prosperity of your lands serves each soul therein. In many ways, each day echoes ancient tradition, the harvest, the preparation, and the division of these goods connecting an unbroken legacy, passed down since time immemorial. The stockpile represents not only food for the body, but social contracts, fortifying job security among villagers, sustaining you their toil and sweat, translated to dried barley, awaiting new possibilities within diets of labouring bellies. The turning of the seasons weaves through your task list with infallible rhythm. Winter means extra vigilance in ensuring the storeroom maintains sufficient supply, and that foodborne maladies lurk far away from the stock and kitchen inhabitants. Spring heralds rejoicing because winter's shadow passes, yet the urgency to sow seeds before the thaw still gnaws at wisdom. Work postpones its calling, for no steward a sword never sheathed. As spring buds promise a bloom, you organize festivals atop that land. Feasts. Celebratory ale. It cuts both ways, distraction for some, engagement with ancestral forebears' wisdoms for others. Even here, the seeds of activity in telling when shortages loom too precarious for well-laid plans offer kindred fellowship among villagers denied many days of outright gaiety. As twilight creeps upon the village, you catch a glance of the welcomely sturdy granary, its wooden frame haloed by the last glow of the setting sun. Victoriously mutable shoulders steal whispers from fate as they hold their cobbled roof. The world still spins in balance because its loads remain calculated beneath the steward's gentle thumb. Each cog clicks reassuringly within the wheel of seasons, inhabited now at arm's length and yet so lovingly close. So, returning to the manor as yet another day gathers itself to end, you rest, knowing the tables are set for tomorrow's resilience. Tables garnished with the sweat of cleaved woods, ploughed fields, and stewards. As bone and grain, person and land soever converge, your watchful eye promises that survival isn't merely a code followed scrupulously to a tale's end, but woven wide and brotherly bright. The sun nudges the horizon, welcoming you into a new day of relentless demands as the medieval steward, threading the delicate balance between the needs of countless dependents and the whims of your lordly overlords. The manor stands at the centre, both physically and metaphorically, of your myriad responsibilities. This place is your stage, the backdrop against which the daily drama of medieval life unfolds with all its predictable unpredictability. As you emerge into the courtyard, the manor hums with the early hustly-bustling hive of servants and stewards, each busy with their own duties, yet under your watchful gaze. It's your job to ensure that every corner of this impressive but aging estate operates like a finely tuned instrument. The stone walls, while strong, require constant care and attention, much like the people they encircle. Upkeep never rests. The first order of your day is a check-in with the household's various departments. The kitchen buzzes with industrious flies, and even busier kitchen maids, pots already simmering over blazing hearths. Their deft hands turn modest ingredients into sustenance that fills both bellies and the air, with aromas that greet the nose each morning like clockwork. You exchange a few words with the cook, ensuring supplies are well stocked, and that tonight's supper holds no unwelcome surprises. It's a task done with familiarity, like a hand-in-hand dance over flagged stones after all. Managing the pantry is a linchpin of your role. Next, you are met by the head stableman from the manor's west wing, eager to report on the health and status of the horses. Their maintenance is crucial not only for the lord's personal use, but as a symbol of the manor's prestige. Indeed, a sleek steed in prime fettle speaks volumes, both to guests and the working staff. The stable-yard resonates with the familiar clomp of hooves and soft whinnies that remind you of the unspoken reliance on these noble animals. Animals and food aside, you make your way through the courtyard to oversee more mundane tasks: wood chopping for fires, repairs on the thatched roofs, and perhaps checking on the stonemason's progress on some crumbling walls that have recently shown signs of wear. Every logistical challenge presents another opportunity to test your mettle, to manage workers who, while skilled, bear their own grudges, alliances, and aspirations. Herding cats might be an apt comparison, though I dare impose feline reproach at your symbolic juggling. Historians still argue whether the steward's intervention in every facet of manor management made them invaluable or merely busybodies. Was your influence over infrastructure as crucial as stated, Or were you simply a cog enforcing fealty through structured oversight, mediating disputes, and orchestrating cohesion amongst trades? Naturally, both function, albeit with imperfect certainty, and yet continuity flows in rituals of shared labor, each worker knowing his or her exact task within the cult of this manor. Among today's agenda, a specific concern: tenant grievances regarding repairs to cottages. To maintain morale and mitigate unrest, it's imperative to address these requests. Promptly, a roof in disrepair can sow discord faster than locusts left unchecked upon wild grain. Amid the usual complaints about leaking thatch and drafty windows, your skill in diplomacy and negotiation is tested. Promises of swift action are your currency, transmutations of good faith and efficient workmanship the result. Resources, both nature and hand-forged, are limited, so you must allocate them wisely. The economy of your decisions extends beyond mere manpower. It intertwines with pastoral balance of well-being, so graceful as to be worth the envy of Archimedes. In between negotiations and endless preparations for various lordly endeavors, from feasts and hunts to repairing breaches in security, you escort the master's forthcoming inspections. Engaging in a walk through the manor estate, you delicately articulate prognostications that nurture your strict confidences. Appearances remain formidable yet welcoming, thanks to your ongoing unpaid efforts. As the bright afternoon sun sinks towards evening, the manor glows softly in the amber light, seeming almost at peace, if only for a moment. It's during these precious intervals of temporal hush that you often find yourself pausing for reflection upon towering spirals and warmed walls, which play as custodians to past days of tedium and trial, faced by wise-eyed stewards long before your time. Every hallway and entry bears unwritten histories. The stones whisper secrets only shared in taprooms after labor days, where ale and firelight cast shadows dancing within earshot of kinsmen, recalling gory triumphs over bygone missteps. Your hand brushes tenderly against those stoic stones as they record another day with gratitude. Eventually, you make your way back into the manor hall, welcomed by the awaiting embrace of fire's warmth, a glittering reminder that motion persists even when light weakens. Though burdens met return with each dark before dawn, for now they're eclipsed briefly behind whispers of reward, born seasoned through night's promises of repose. In this fleeting passage reserved just for you, rest is a guardian vigil seated among the relics of your imaginings, an anthem to gentle stewardship whose restful cadence glides between starlit nights beneath shadows of solemnly upheld mansions. The dawn breaks, casting its pale light across the manor and its lands, and you find yourself amidst the sound of murmuring voiceal, underscored by an undertone, a low rumble of dissatisfaction. As the steward, your role expands beyond mere management and nurtures community harmony, constantly navigating the complex landscape of human emotions. Today, the air is thick with an undercurrent of unrest, whisperings of tension among the villagers echoing like a distant storm rolling in. Your first stop is the village green, its grass bearing the imprint of countless feet from markets past. This morning is no different. The gathering peasantry congregates here, their voices rising and falling like the tide. Their grievances are not new overarchingly familiar tales of unfair taxes, dwindling resources, and patchwork promises to be held together by the fraying threads of time. Tending to this simmering brew of discontent requires all your skill in diplomacy. As you approach, the crowd's murmur grows quieter, their eyes settling on you, the steward, the bridge between them and the unseen hands of their lordly master. The perennial imbalance between those above and below, while often silent under layers of obligation, sometimes surfaces with volcanic strength. And here you stand, on the precipice, mediating the shifting tides. Today, the complaints focus on the ancient and burdensome taxes levied on their bread and beer-essential lifeblood in an already rough existence. Exaggerations and exclamations, a toast raised in ire rather than cheer, disparaging the unyielding weight of these levies. You listen thoughtfully, nodding your understanding, letting their frustration tumble around you like leaves caught within a breeze. Historians continue to debate the root causes of peasant uprisings, purely reactionary against poor management and excessive demand, Or were they inextricable expressions of the growing tension between surviving socio-economic systems? Yet, whatever lit the spark, the steward is tasked with extinguishing it before it grows beyond control. Your task today is to address their concerns without betraying the stature and respect required by your position. The art of negotiation here is less about the immediate gains or concessions, but more about placation, encouraging the belief that their voices are heard and their struggles understood. A pledge to raise their grievances to the Lord during your next meeting forms a part of your repertoire, and a promise to press on the matter with all due diligence rounds out your approach. However, words alone do not suffice in these matters. You must back them up with action, or risk losing what fragile faith remains in your stewardship. Once the immediate tumult calms, you retreat to the manor to begin crafting a petition for your Lord's consideration. Your skill lies not simply in entreating authority, but in knowing precisely which bells to ring in corridors of power and knowing when not to ring them at all. Meanwhile, you cultivate a strategy with your most trusted aides to ease the village's woes. A minor renunciation of some levies here, a diligent inspection of their grievances on crop failures, or perhaps a festival day organized to divert attention from the communal grumbling that echoes through your lands. Bridging that never-ending gap, the arduous path between taxation and representation falls astutely within your mandate. With evening drawing near, you take a walk through the village, the air now cooled by the setting sun. Shadows loom long across the cobbled streets, and flickering lanterns punctuate the encroaching twilight. The villagers nod in acknowledgement as you pass. Some offer cautious smiles, while others retain only wary stares. Trust is a difficult gift, earned and cultivated through persistent endeavor, flower more delicate than the blustery, brutal demands it seeks to withstand. You reflect on the delicate balancing act you perform, each day holding back burgeoning uprisings, respectably negotiating frustrations, quietly organizing, and constantly ensuring that the system's tension does not exceed its capacity for peace. In these weighty moments, you taste the flavor of what change can bring, sweet and sour, frightening and exhilarating, like the rolling clouds heralding a storm. Back at the manor, you prepare for a council with your lord. You stand before them, a bearer of tales both hopeful and harried. Presentation becomes each evening's conclusion as you endeavor one final effort to ensure that everyone you're responsible for finds peace in their beds, this night murmuring of complexities managed well in daylight. And so, the course of calm returns, you hope, to settle across your domain as you prepare for tomorrow and all it brings. In the cooled reflection of mirrored waters, you mark the close of another convoluted chapter in your interminable stewardship. While your peace earned today invites none commandeered, it whispers finality quietly until only lingering shadows seek fitful slumber upon muted praises yet unvoiced beneath veiled midnight canopies. As the first light starts to filter through the morning sky, you find yourself bracing for another day of navigating the multifaceted world of medieval finance. Your responsibilities as steward include ensuring the smooth collection and management of taxes, a task that weaves you into the complex tapestry of a system as stable as its most frayed strand. The manor, as it stands, depends on these levies not just for survival, but for any semblance of prosperity. Having tucked in the loose ends of yesterday's village meeting, today's air buzzes with the weighty anticipation of tax collection day. You gather your account books, writing instruments, and parchment, a veritable arsenal against the inevitable onslaught of uncertainty as you prepare to face the community. Each line etched in ink bears testament to goods and deeds, measured in weighty handfuls of thatch, grain, and promises. The villagers assemble nervously, shifting on their feet like trees in an anxious forest, each waiting their turn. They clutch payment, sacks of grain, sheaves of wool, freshly laid eggs, carefully packed currencies, both phenomenally varied and occasionally whimsy. For what price is a fine goose today? And how does one square its worth against root vegetables or desperate labor? Numbers alone will not meet your needs. There's more subtle alchemy here at work. You'll match each offering against promissory tallies, stretching back centuries within hallowed ledger bounds, a challenge on par with unraveling Arthur's own lost tapestry. Whether fulfilling established dues or arranging new understandings, your ability to negotiate means more than simple mathematics ever could. You stand firm, eyes sweeping over the hopeful faces lined before you. Each individual acknowledges your authority with hesitation or begrudging respect, acknowledging the dual roles you play, taxman and confidant, forever balancing the edges of this fiscal blade. Their murmurs stir amid expectant breaths until the first foot takes that fated, reluctant step forward. Negotiations flow as the line trickles by. A farmer approaches, his hat in hand, offering a request for a delay due to sick animals. Another reluctantly parts with a fattened brace of rabbits, which capture springtime's last whispers. The toll seems meager against the life's work each exchange represents, though their earnest eyes suggest gratitude weighed against private protest. Their bartering envelops itself in stoic shades, a practice older than time itself. Historians continue to debate the effects of these layered taxes on medieval economies. Were they essential cogs in societal advancement, leashing hunger and innovation alongside civic order, or instead mere futile extractions of overlord greed, obesely feeding distant chancellors? Arguments aside, their imposition dictated far beyond the ledger, social capital as tangible as goods themselves. A steward's acumen knows this truth well through each crop's rise or fail, watched closely hour by accumulating hour. As coins jingle on the wooden trestle-turned sorting bench, you weigh decisions with surety. The tally rises, noting exceptions in margins for future court judgment balancing, patience with unwritten oaths exchanged in garrulous grumbles. Those figures bear names as sincere as proffered bushel-seach sunken-eyed peasant, distinctly documented within boundless computation. Some time later, you retreat with a satchel full of elements, both precious and quotidian. Your keeper's ledger equally pleased with fulfillment. You seek the soft whetstone of reflection honed on stone hearth's gleaming bar-glow. Whisperings here point gently to questions asked as monosyllables. Quagmire wound beneath old tales, embroidered from all lands' grumbling moors. Perhaps amid the day's taped challenges, one exercising wands with hammer weight for just remedy gleamed from artful discourse and kindly deeds administered untold moments. Past there lies meaning. Change befalls. Even benevolence reigns unfathomed stewardship from toil sought gratefully shared through seeking rightful solutions when resolve explores farther mantles unlit. Now, dusk gathers the final tolls in the village with whispers of morrow's dawn preparing on baying breezes. Your vigil concludes tomorrow as each day brightly renews hope remaining from interior niches left shadowed long by weary moonlight. Breaking upon hushed imaginings, invariably, a mendicant fabric-woven fate beyond mere fiscal paths, explored yet beckoning, kindly sunlit lows, unanticipated. The waking world unfurls around you, revealing another crisp medieval morning one that promises fresh challenges and steadfast duties. Today, the manor's pulse beats within the dimly lit chamber that serves as your makeshift infirmary. The scent of herbal concoctions mingles with the dampness of stone, forming an atmosphere that, while soothing, carries the heavy weight of its purpose, the precarious realm of medieval health and medicine. Your mornings often take you past this room, but today's itinerary requires you to halt within its threshold, a gatekeeper to the mysteries of life and death. As the steward, your responsibilities extend to overseeing the well-being of everyone residing within these walls. The role places you precariously between hope and despair, burdened with the knowledge that the remedies of your time often share kinship with obscured folly. As you enter, you're immediately met with the hushed movement of the village healer, a figure as enigmatic as the wild herbs they gather. Swathed in layers of earthy wool, their hands are a testament to a lifetime weathered by untamed green seasons and midnight incursions into the forest. Their glance is scrutinizing yet respectful, knowing you're the liaison between their natural craft and the structured authority of the manor. This chamber, filled with an assortment of tinctures, potions, and curative charms, becomes a battlefield of sorts of defense against ailments that seem to outnumber treatments available. You wander past shelves lined with jars, whose contents range from the familiar mint and chamomile to more questionable solutions, perchance powdered bones or the mysterious leech. The air, scented with camphor and sage, hums with whispered incantations, a trust not invested in science, but in tradition's long, winding path. Historians are engaged in lively debate about the efficacy of medieval medicinidid. The era's reliance on spiritual remedies prolong suffering needlessly, or conversely, provide comfort amid uncertainty through ritual and belief. While these considerations linger in the realm of academic discourse, the actions required of you are immediate and tangible. Your duties today involve overseeing the health of the manor's inhabitants with hope that wards illness before it permeates. Like the tides, life brings waves of childbirths, fevers, and sporadic infections, each challenge interpreted through the lens of available remedies and pragmatic resignation. From revisiting the lavender and rosehip store with a healing touch to restocking salt for salves, you dedicate yourself to these endless circles of care. Your day's crucial task involves coordinating the distribution of medicinal herbs from the manor's modest apothecary. Mindful of scarcity, you collaborate with the healer to allocate supplies efficiently. While modern ears might deem reliance on unleavened bread laced with milk or crushed plantain odd, the alchemist in you relishes the anticipation of potential salvation in each battered line of quaint recipes. Further, today's discussions also center on preventative measures amidst recurring ailments. An ill-timed outbreak of influenza snakes its way among the villagers, compelling you to organize and oversee increased sanitation while reassuring the populace that every precautionary measure is undertaken seriously. To provide such assurances amidst trials, so great be it the marvelously medieval ambrosia, honeycombed infrastructures the apothecaries, devised entails tenacious understanding, drawing upon layers more abstract than empirical. You draw faith upon the surrounding order's veil. Spirits benign glimpse kingdoms greater than us, for which humble guardians such as yourself endeavor. The afternoon brings with it a familiar pacienter young page in the Lord's service, his pallor stark against fever's flush. With compassion, you ensure his comfort as the healer tends to him, crafting an elixir from elderberry steeped in essence linden. After a brief nod of understanding exchanged, you return to pacing, quietly marveling at both vigor and limits of makeshift remedies. It's humbling work, but it's your stewardship that allows these ancient practices an audience, providing some cogency amongst chaos, vying inside sickness's realm. It blends illuminating wonders with certain despair inherent within this time-ravaged space. Could any sphere better illustrate such adversity? Ironies unspoken by soothing herbs are laid cross a magistrate's imposed conceptions. As dusk draws her velvet curtain over the manor, you make one last visit to check on your charges, pausing by the herbalist's doorway for a moment once again. Each dried plant and faded tincture bottle speaks of wisdom gleaned through ages, whispering veiled thanks from across generations, united by survival's dauntless charge. Returning to your quarters, the night sky swathed in timeless constellations awaits reflection. Staring into its vastness, you wonder, will the march of progress provide salvation for the ailments that confound you today? Will future sciences unveil these mysteries alongside unlocked starlight shores? Amongst the shadows, chimed by reverie, ebon-plated upon hearthside stones, echoes echo amidst pleasant breaths. Embers, brightening tomorrow's shadows, shade foreseeably serene peace upon meditative embrace, gliding nightly gap. As the daylight reaches its steady crescendo, casting an even glow across the manor, you find yourself once again in the midst of your numerous Roliza central player, in the ongoing theatrical performance that is medieval life. Today, you must don the mantle of justice, an oft uncomfortable garment, but one you wear with the resilience honed through experience and necessity. A steward must, at times, become the arbiter in the tangled web of village disputes, a role where wisdom and objectivity are your sharpest tools. The Lord is away at a neighbouring estate today, leaving you to preside over matters of local justice in itself, an exercise in balancing both fairness and the expectations of manorial authority. Your steps echo along the stone corridors as you make your way to the impromptu court, thoughts thrumming with previous encounters of mediating disagreements over stolen livestock or boundary trespasses. With sunlight streaming through stained glass windows, casting fragments of colour across the wooden floor like scattered jewels, You enter the great hall where villagers have assembled. Voices form a low hum, anticipation tangible as you take your seat at a simple high table, representing the absent lord's judicial oversight. The room settles into patient silence, all eyes upon you waiting. The first matter calls forward two farmers embroiled in a heated dispute over grazing rights, an old and thorny issue, but one where respect for precedent and fairness in allotment can ease tensions. Your mediating efforts rely not just on legal precepts scratched into weathered parchment, but also on your knowledge of the land and its practices. You weigh each argument carefully, acutely aware that the souls before you are both neighbors and rivals. With a judicious nod, you propose a compromise, a shared grazing rotation, overseen by neutral groundkeepers, accepted by both with begrudging nods. It's a role that requires more than simple legal knowledge. It's a constant exercise in empathy and understanding. You must see beyond the words spoken to the intentions and histories that drive them. Historians still argue whether the between-village mediations, carried on by stewards, held more sway over local peace than the decrees issued by distant lords and their councils. Perhaps there is some poetic justice in that notion your power is bound in the moment, ephemeral yet potent. Your musings are interrupted by the second case of the dire report of theft within the manor's serf quarters. A golden brooch, gifted to one of the maidservants by a distant aunt, has disappeared. Carefully, you listen to the testimonies, scrutinizing the body language of those involved. The subtle shift of a gaze, the telltale clenching of a jaw, the intimate poetry of human behavior, where the truth often hides in plain sight. The accused, a young boy with coal-smudged hands and a troubled frown, stands before you, eyes wary and defiant, a heart caught between fear and shame. You sense an opportunity within this case, not simply to punish, but to education, through justice, a lesson in morality, intertwined with empathy, aiming for reintegration rather than mere chastisement. The verdict: restitution through labor, allowing the boy to work under the mentorship of a glaze artisan, learning skills, and restoring his place in the community. As midday sunlight continues its unyielding advance across the hall, your thoughts converge on justice's slippery nature soiled by its complex entanglements. Your decisions do not rest solely in punishment, but in understanding the humanity that beats within missteps and repentance. The queries resolve in trembling finality at day's end, when last strains among villagers unwind along trails well trodden toward hearthside peace. And so, as proceedings come to a close, you rise, the mantle of justice momentarily lighter as the court disperses. You make your way through the winding stone corridors, assured that your decisions today have shaped the village's moral fabric, one thread at a time. Each case triumphs beyond judicial musing-san interplay, where justice meets compassion, forging bonds among neighbors once torn by cords of animosity. Your role, distinct yet immersed in these patterns, links memory to destiny's vibrant loom stories, yet unwritten. Colors unpainted, awaiting celestial shaping's fair embrace, serenely born within. The sun sets low on the horizon as you retire to your quarters, pondering this dance of justice, a trail of mutual observance, learning harmony from echoes, untethered amid sighing voices heard calling in storm shadow harmony. This tapestry, as intricate as the stars above, remains ever fluid, reflective of the era in which you find yourself gestating, unraveling its secrets one small moment in time, now and forever cradled by guardianship's trusting whisper, awaiting tomorrow's unbidden promise. The morning light filters through the narrow windows of the manor's small chapel, casting long, coloured shadows on the stone floor, a kaleidoscope of faith and tradition. As steward, your duties today intersect with the realm of the spiritual, a domain where rules dictated not by man, but by divine decree still hold sway. The intertwining of religious rites with secular responsibilities keeps you ever mindful of the balance required to maintain the manor as both a home and a community. Religion penetrates every aspect of medieval life. It is as present as the air you breathe and as essential as the bread you break. Today, you're tasked with overseeing the village's preparations for a feast day, an occasion that demands reverence as much as joyous celebration. The villagers have already congregated, their buzz of anticipation a soft hum against the symphonic backdrop of morning chores, punctuated by the rhythmic tolling of bells. In your role, you ensure that the church commandments find stark continuity within manorial activities. And so, as steward, you wear the many and varied hats of organizer, advisor, arbitrator, and, perhaps, guidea compass, by which others might measure both faith's ethereal promise and ground-laden truth. Your steps echo in the unyielding stone aisles, manifesting sound tempered by duties manifold. The first task involves assisting the clergy in preparations for the upcoming Mass. Candles must be carefully allocated, replacing those that burned low during vigils and long nights, casting flickering constellations within the chapel's sacred space. The brisk scent of beeswax mingles with the heady perfume of incense, a reminder that spirituality remains both physical and transcendent. Historians still argue about the true influence of the Church over medieval life. Was it an all-encompassing authority, or more a custodian of mysticism? While the debate rages on, today's responsibilities remain concrete as stone, arranging for the distribution of alms and organizing the procession for the feast day. The friar approaches with a conciliatory nod, exchanged across ages, back-bound mediating quiet roles whose occupant personifies destiny's conundrum woven high above chiming bells. Amidst these preparations, you are approached by a group of villagers seeking mediation in a matter concerning the tithes owed. Their faces carry a mix of deference and trepidation, knowing the importance placed on these offerings and the Church's dual aspect as both spiritual refuge and earthly debt collector. You tread carefully, recognizing the complexity in your position. You are an enforcer of dues, yet also an empathetic listener to their worldly troubles. Upholding religious rites and rights within the spectrum of everyday concerns might involve re-evaluating past burdens, encouraging due leniency while retaining fealty and peace, offering solace where creed commands empathy paths anew where selflessness transcends strictures, while others meet obligations under solicitous guides who gently evoke worth beyond mere bread, yields devotion without haste. As the day unfolds, the festivities draw near a blending of divine homage, with feasts shared beneath the sun's golden gaze. You oversee the culmination of efforts, ensuring the logistics support contemplation alongside revelry. The choir raises their voices, notes mingling with chirping elders, spinning tales longer than lifetimes lived, smiles birthing gratitude amongst fellowship. The manor resonates with music, laughter, and prayer recall, and answer spanning generations. In the quiet moments that follow, as candles cast dancing lights about chapel stones, you see in their flame the transitory nature of this formative Rolia dialogue held between timelessness, duty met with grace. The work speaks less of somber divides, concurrently revealing boundless promises, upheld within All Souls' sanctuary, outside cycles where men dwell. As twilight envelops the manor in its gentle embrace, you seek reflection within the quietude of your chamber, pondering the delicate interplay of faith and dutya tapestry woven across days and moments when the sacred converges with mundane enterprises. The rules of the earthly and the enlightened guide your stewardship, emphasizing unity. Within dualities, life insists upon weaving melody, stirring untold echoes upon still waters, dreaming gently, serene peace anew, await, holding fast beyond sanctified echoes, aligned forever, ever aligned beneath eternal stars, awaken in night's hidden embrace. As you step out into the morning air, the crispness carries with it a trace of adventureer, rare divergence from your usual routines. Today promises not just the usual demands of stewardship, but also a glimpse into the oft-overlooked realities of medieval travel. Whether traversing the estate or venturing out to neighboring villages and lands, travel during this era is more than simply moving from point A to point B, a carefully orchestrated dance, fraught with perils and surprises. Your preparations begin with the gathering of necessities. In the absence of rolling suitcases and convenient travel guides, you rely on the sturdy craftsmanship of leather satchels, filled with parchment and quills, a flask of water, and perhaps some dried meat or hard bread to sustain you. The roads are ill-maintained pathways, serpentine trails, more suitable to the endurance of a beast than the comfort of a weary traveller. Today's task requires you to oversee the delivery of important documents to a nearby manor, a visit involving both diplomatic tact and logistical savvy. With relations between manorial estates becoming increasingly intricate, the contents of these missives are both significant and sensitive. Ensuring their timely and secure arrival sits atop your day's agenda, reminder that stewardship extends beyond stationary borders. Your chosen steed awaits, the horse nuzzling the air with gentle anticipation. A trusted companion, this equine offers transportation and silent comfort along the winding routes. You set off at a steady pace, your mind clear, focused on the task and the potential challenges ahead. This could be a charming break from daily manorial conflicts, if not for the unpredictable hazards that each road inevitably hides. Travel in medieval times involves navigating through myriad obstacles, if not the road itself, then the people you encounter. Bandits are a constant threat, their presence hidden beneath the guise of rolling hills and thickets that offer concealment. You must remain vigilant, your senses sharp, as even familiar paths blend caution with adrenaline. It's an exercise in trust, as much as endurance trust in your horse, your knowledge of the landscape, and, of course, a bit of luck. Historians still argue whether travel during these times was more an act of immense bravery or naive folly. The dangers weren't confined to mere highwaymen. Treacherous weather, impassable streams, or even a wayward step leading to twisted limbs or broken bones could disrupt the best laid plans. As you traverse the beaten path, each hoofall an echo of guardianship and resilience, you can't help but muse on the scores of wanderers who've trodden these grounds before you, each step a tale, each journey a nod to bygone adventures. The midday sun finds you approaching a small trading poster gathering point where travelers and merchants can join, stories mingling with traded goods. You pause briefly, your horse finding temporary respite as you survey the sinear tapestry of diverse accents, bartered treasures, and orders barked over clattering hooves. Connections formed, even briefly, hold purpose and promise fleeting, yet eternal within time's endless passage. Refreshed by brief company and whetstones exchanged amongst shared versus drawn that welcome neighbouring thoughts anew, you resume the journey toward the distant manor. The pathway twists through rolling landscapes, punctuated by crossroad markers and friendly nods shared with passing fellow riders. It's a delicate dance, tactically choosing which strangers merit caution and which may offer camaraderie wrapped in the comfort of shared direction. The destination arrives more quickly than anticipated, the manor rising before you a sprawling testament to ongoing endeavours of stewardship. Your presence here is not only expected, but anticipated, detected by watchmen long aware of your arrival. Ritual pleasantries exchanged, documents safely delivered, and informal treaties reiterated with spoken promises ring solemnly within walls dressed by years of silent whispers. With business concluded, the return journey carries with it a quieter sense of achievementa, reverse narrative, where endless horizons converge by tireless energy's wisdom spurred. The roads, despite their consistent challenges, feel familiar and reassuring after the day's excitement and negotiations. Travelling back under a descending sun, your mount's feet echo rebounds high against orbades, threading cloudward rise toward imaginings no words can quite express. Arriving home as twilight embraces the manor, you dismount with a sigh, handing your horse to the patiently waiting stable hand. A nod of thanks passes between you, a mutual acknowledgement of the miles conquered beneath skyscape shadows, a dance designed compliant. In the fading light, you retreat to your quarters traveller's tales, entwined alongside parchment scrolls within heart and mind, wondering when the road will call again. For tomorrow, your feet will tread familiar stone through quiet emotions predictable, their own promises reflected in journey brief enchanting. Dreams of distant lands dwell softly upon imaginations gathered in passage, foretelling adventure's return, the day's end, blending with starlit roads yet unseen. Nestled within the familiar embrace of the manor, you return to the more mundane yet vital aspects of your stewardship. One task today is less adventurous than your recent travels, but no less significant: managing the manor's critical documents. Medieval record-keeping, while seemingly straightforward, is a labyrinth of its own, where parchment and ink hold the past, present, and future threads of manorial life. You step into the dim chamber, dedicated to this purpose, its shelves lined with rolled parchments and bound ledgers. These records are not mere relics of obligation. They are the backbone of the estatia chronicle of every negotiation, every season's yield, every tithe collected, all preserved within the curled pages and ink-stained entries. As steward, you are more than a mere keeper of these records. You are their custodian, tasked with ensuring their accuracy and safety. The scent of aging parchment mingles with the tang of iron gall ink, a tactile reminder of the lives and livelihoods encoded within every sheet. Your first task is to review a set of documents detailing recent transactions, bartered goods, and rents paid. The records serve as both a ledger and safeguard, each entry a vow that witnesses promised exchanges, each notation tracing truth through caffeinated autumn winds. The quiet solitude of the record chamber amplifies the rustle of paperwork, the scratching quill, a metronome marking the passage of time. Yet, handling these documents demands more than a steady hand and sharp eye. You must possess an acute awareness of context, understanding the implications of each line, you reappreciating the stories that unfold without the benefit of modern conveniences. Even with careful management, the durability of medieval record-keeping is a frequent challenge. The materials themselves are vulnerable. Parchment can mold or tear, ink can fade, and rodents view your archive as a tempting feast. Protecting these documents is a meticulous endeavor, involving rotations of placement and occasional recopying. Historians still argue whether medieval stewards were akin to archivists, recalling tales sparked by crackling fires beneath slumbering eaves. It is amidst this quiet stewardship that you find unexpectedly illuminating moments. While perusing the oldest records, your hand falls upon a vellum sheet, its script elegantly inscribed many years ago. The subject unfolds as a land dispute, its ragged edges framing significant history once hotly contested. You trace the quillwork indentations, feeling the depth of emotion held behind each stroke. The undercurrents of local history transcend generations, resolved by ink and time in equal measure. Despite the care you dedicate, there is always the implicit question of accuracy in these records, as every entry reflects human judgment and susceptibility to error. Piety, political intrigue, or simple misunderstanding each can bend truth to varying degrees. Yet, these ledgers form a beacon of reliability, keeper-wise, binding ancient stories to forthcoming choices, a bridge across seas unstilled. As minutes evolve through hours, you pause to recognize that managing these documents accords as much importance to negotiation and recent trade, regardless of vicissitudes fashioned deeply within winter afternoons. Manuscripts uphold administration synergy entwined with progress, archivally framing rare insights alongside contemporaneity's brilliant embalms, eternally cared for within darkened maritime celibacy unseen. Finally, your day progresses into evening's calming descent as you place the quarried pages back into their respective alcavisa. Confederate tome arranged beloved warded echoes, poetically voiced away in silent solitude. You take a moment to breathe, surveying the parchment-strewn table before you, a tangible landscape of duty fulfilled and history preserved beneath a fading sky. As twilight gathers its soft embrace around thinly arched windows, you make your way toward yet another era's space. The room captures wishfulness from daydreams lived wide open, and within those borders, vivid past commitments safeguarded shelter within their choices, illuminating skyline hues. Your vigil of custodianship isn't merely a task, it's reverence, cast dedicated upon yielding repositories, murmuring soothingly beside manuscripts and scrolls bearing eternal goodwill. Inheritance remembered as shadows linger across pathways to the infinite. The reverie of history unfolds, ready against dreams for festoons made newly profound. These records define what comes next to dream anew. Warmed by the hearth's glow and the evening's encroaching serenity, you draw upon the day's quiet triumphs carried harmoniously against sunset folds, enshrining documents composing paths, securely traced far beyond gathered wisdom, cast with hope, beckoning yet another tide-like cradle beyond impulse, arrayed eventually on a night-long embrace. Today's dawn breaks with the promise of another intricate challenge, woven into the fabric of your medieval life. the delicate dance of petty politics and simmering rivalries that often nudges the rhythm of your daily responsibilities. As steward, every estate, village, and manor is a microcosm of social dynamics. Each twist and turn, a potential ripple through the communal pond that could disturb the carefully balanced reflection. Your first task is to meet with the village council, a gathering of influential locals whose opinions and concerns reflect the communal pulse. Every participant carries their unique blend of economic interest, familial allegiance, and personal ambition. Your role here is to mediate and ideally manipulate these forces into a semblance of harmonious purpose. With the rising sun casting long shadows over the courtyard, you walk the familiar path to the meeting hall, simple structure that conceals the weighty debates held within. The low murmur of voices greets you as you arrive, noting how the council members sit arranged around a wooden table like knights at the round. They offer nods of acknowledgement, some laced with the warmth of respect, others shaded by war and reminder that trust in politics is an ever-fleeting commodity. As discussions begin, the day's pressing issue reveals itself, a dispute over the boundaries of a communal pasture used by neighboring estates. It is a classic example of medieval territorial tension, where every foot of land is fiercely contested. Concerns are voiced, patience tested, and tempers wreathe a blend of theatrical bravado and genuine concern, with each participant seeking any advantage, however small. Historians still debate the true nature of these communal disputes, whether they were primarily economic in nature or rooted in deeper, psychological rivalries inherent to the fabric of medieval life. As steward, you see these dramas play out both ways. They are tangled in complexities, rooted in both survival and pride. But you know diplomacy can untie even the most convoluted knots. Your task is to guide the dialogue toward a solution favorable to all parties. Drawing upon your experience and intuition, your voice rises above the rest, proposing land rotation and shared maintenance as a compromiser, practical solution designed to maintain peace without alienation. The challenge lies in finding the precise balance between firmness and pliancy, fostering mutual cooperation while upholding the integrity of the estate. With the council adjourned and a tentative agreement reached, you turn your attention to another pressing matter, long-standing rivalry with a neighboring lord whose estate borders your own. Here, the ancient whispers of fealty and prestige mingle in a dance as delicate as any courtship. Sanctions have been imposed on timber trade routes, an attempt to tighten economic pressure, a subtle skirmish in the battle for resources. Your job now is to negotiate, aiming to ease tensions by arranging a series of exchanges, promising mutual benefit. It's a carefully planned, strategic advancement, where each move forward is matched by the potential of a backstep. To secure peace with your neighbor requires the art of informal diplomacy. Messages dispatched discreetly must carry both an olive branch and a firm handshake, ensuring that overtures of goodwill respect existing hierarchy. You call forth a trusted envoy to carry these negotiations, a steward's right hand embodying finesse and representing unity amidst contradictions, forging paths renewed within well-trodden footfalls. As the day dips toward dusk, the resolved resolutions of these two engagements leave you with the quiet satisfaction of a job well done, knowing that peace, despite its fragility, rules this day's accomplishments. Yet, the inherent uncertainties of future may stoke the embers anew, for the comings and goings of fortune remain forever unpredictable. The complexities of community management provide a mirror reflecting the nuances of social order, unveiling paths shadowed in ambition and aspiration. Every success feels transient, each conflict a poignant reminder of the balance needed to maintain equilibrium among self-interests. As you finally retire to your chamber, in quiet reflection, a sense of relief tempers your introspection. You muse on these daily negotiations where not all victories are defined by tangible gain, but rather the calm waters left in the wake of your diplomacy waters that for today remain undisturbed by rivalries, allowing for the possibility of peace. With the night sky draped over the estate like a gentle shroud, you find solace in the rhythm of shared stories and momentary concord absolving tomorrow's obligations. Knowing that the struggle of consensus marks life's generous mantle celebrated anew within chancel vistas, untouched by embers, seeking colored dawn, as azure shadows lift slowly beneath nameless stars, drawing strength toward wisps. Unaware. Underneath unfurling constellations, another day finds its journey's end weaving calmly unforeseen narratives beneath relevance aged, neath time and circumstance. With tentative trust settled for future days, wrought bravely bold. As a new day unfurls its muted colors across the horizon, you find yourself pondering the invisible threads that bind the minds and souls of those around you, threads, woven not just from practicalities, but from beliefs, deeply entrenched in the supernatural and the superstitious. Today, your role as a steward extends into the intangible, where you must navigate the labyrinth of medieval supernatural beliefs and superstitions that hold sway over so many aspects of life. The manor awakens around you, bustling with the morning's usual stirrings. Yet, beneath the routine, simmers a reverence for the unseen forces believed to influence everything from harvests to health. Superstitions are ghosts cloaked in daylight, their whispers as familiar as the crow of the rooster or the soft chatter of the village folk. Navigating these beliefs demands sensitivity and respect as they intersect with your daily responsibilities. You begin your morning at the manor's edge, where the kitchen gardens yield more than just vegetables. They also offer protection against malevolent spirits. Lavender to ward off bad dreams, basil for prosperity, and rosemary strung above doorways to keep witches at bay. The head gardener, knowledgeable in both botany and folklore, shares updates on the garden with a knowing smiler nod to the customs that root deeper than mere soil. The village buzzes with whispers about an unusual series of events, livestock falling ill without apparent cause, or sudden storms darkening the skies. Both are attributed to forces beyond the physical, where explanations hinge on folklore rather than reason. Your task is to listen and commiserate, to bring calm where anxiety threatens to rule, understanding that superstition is both solace and quick suspect when the natural world yields troubling mysteries. Historians still argue about the extent to which these supernatural beliefs dominated medieval life. Were they merely desperate explanations for unexplained phenomena, or did they serve as a cultural glue, binding communities within shared narratives? As steward, you see the latter. These beliefs, while irrational to modern sensibilities, forge connections. They're a shared language that transcends the barriers of class and status. Amidst these ethereal concerns, a new problem finds you. A villager, troubled by a string of bad luck, believes his misfortune the result of a curse. The supposed source is a neighbor with whom tension has long simmered. As the balance keeper, it falls to you to mediate while respecting the power of beliefs too easily dismissed. With gathering shadows eclipsing daylight's boundary, you arrange a day of communal activities associated with good fortune, aiming to coax away suspicions and reinforce unity. Races and games culminate in the shape of genial rivalries. Beneath this veneer of jest lies a serious purpose to rekindle bonds threatened by shadowy doubts and ensure solidarity anew. In one of these games, the tossing of shoes over the roof is met with laughter and a hint of seriousness, an odd remedy for bad luck turned celebration. This practice symbolizes flinging troubles away, a shared casting out of burdens heavy both in heart and in mind. You gently encourage participation, weaving tales of new beginnings around these customs, highlighting the collective power they harness. As night falls, you gather the villagers around a bonfire, its warmth a shelter against the unfathomable dangers that dusk carries in its wake. Shared stories emerge, tales of brave heroes and playful sprites, of cunning witches and guardian spirits. Here, the line between superstition and tradition blurs, they become one, a rich tapestry of understanding. The flames crackle and dance, casting long shadows that stretch well beyond the physical realm. The gathering wraps up with an understanding shared in silence, an unspoken acceptance of the day's bond-healing endeavors. Superstitions are not easily dispelled, nor should they be, for they are part of the manor's soul, interwoven with the role of steward steadfastly cradling these fragile yet enduring beliefs. With the embers glowing like ancient stones, aglow by hidden celestial promise, you retreat to the comfort of your chamber, reflecting on this unique cadence within your duties. A steward does not merely safeguard the harvest or ensure smooth governance. You hold in your care centuries of stories, whispers, and hope spun from the fabric of the inexplicable, watching over them as they pass from generation to generation. Through the veil that separates the tangible from the ethereal, a steward, in meditative homage, seeks balance in every aspect of life, deeds unseen and stories untold, wherein mortality meets mythos fleeting, born anew each day. Beneath the watchful stars pressing gently down on the manor, you carry the understanding that whether through happenstances, legends, or truths bearing warm heart's grip, these stories bind lifeblood, ever flowing in continuity's soft-spoken music. Dawn peeks over the horizon with a soft golden hue, dappling the fields with its promise. Today, your focus as the steward sharpens on one of the most anticipated events in the agricultural calendar, the harvest. This is both the climax of months of diligence and a crucible of unpredictability. As the chill of morning begins to lift, the task ahead looms larger compilation of nature's bounty and humankind's toil measured in bushels and busyness. In these early hours, the air crackles with a sense of urgency. The villagers gather, their gestures brisk, and coordinated, a testament to their collective commitment to the land, each one bearing the invisible weight of hopes pinned on ready scythes and laden baskets. The ideal outcome hinges on countless factors, some within your control, others left to the whims of fortune and the fickle end-of-season skies. The pre-dawn dew clings to your boots as you move through the thrumming activity, your presence both reassuring and directive. You confer with the head field hand, updating him on expected yields and today's priorities. The harvest requires a delicate balancier dance between speed and care, ensuring that no grain is wasted while every stalk meets its rightful place stored within the burgeoning granaries. As the sun climbs higher, its warmth corresponding to the progress in the fields, you find yourself reflecting on the paradox of labor. It is backbreaking work, and yet there is joy in the shared purpose that defies exhaustion, bolstered by moments of laughter echoing across the rows. The sounds become a tapestry, interwoven with the rustle of tall grasses and the lilt of distant birdsong. Historians often debate the pressures placed on medieval societies by the demands of harvest and pre-modern agricultural uncertainties. Did such expectations shape the resilience of communities or further strain under the weight of feudal obligations? As steward, you witness firsthand how this industry weaves people together, drawing forth a spirit of camaraderie forged in mutual dependence and shared destiny. Amidst the heart of this aching endeavor, you pause to address a problema section of the field where blight has touched the crop with its ill-favored hand. Your hands survey the damage with care, a solemn reminder of nature's capricious favor and the limits of control. You must now pivot your strategy, reallocating resources and reassigning labor to salvage what can be saved. The afternoon hours bring a focus to your movements, ensuring refreshments are provided and spirits remain buoyant amid frayed nerves and perspiration-lined brows. Ale, cheese, and bread circulate, infusing the workers with renewed vigor for the demands yet unfolding. As a steward, you know how to motivate your human forces, keeping them aligned with the untiring dedication required to meet the day's end with success, each pair of hands contributing to the cohesive melody of resilience. The very mantra of hope springs eternal bestows fields today, as both tinder for shared laughter spun joyously beneath work-hardened palms to joyful glee. The unity that envelops the task at hand is palpable, echoing the cycles of nature, reminiscent of gathering harvests past, and the unending inspiration bound within shared experiences. Beyond the bustle, more eyes than your own observe nature's harmonious stride children perched high atop hay bales, sip cider, perched on rustic frames embraced by expectant fathers, recalling harvests met in dawn's gentle hand, each season reflecting rare beauty, a fire within simplicity's warm embrace. As evening draws close, the sun dips toward the horizon, painting the fields in radiant gold. This day ends as it began, marked by reverence for what was accomplished. The yield is tallied, grain secured, exuberance tempered by the weight of worn bones. Your own gaze softens, reflecting serene thanks from every grain shared amidst abundance. The harvest is realized a living cycle testament, traced fervently across crescents of vanishing light. The day's triumph has not merely been about securing sustenance, but celebrating a bond with the earth that speaks both to timelessness and renewal. As moonlight steps in to gently observe over reaped fields, your spirit finds rest in the maturity of labor sown and wisely gathered. In the quiet aftermath of returns earned against strenuous endeavors, you retreat to the manor, grateful for the day's outcome. Echoes assembled brood destiny's fire-burnt trail, hushed within the manor's silent offerings anew. The tapestry spun by community continues unwavering amidst restful shadows beyond past whispers, finding you gently presiding over hopes revered anew across coming dawnlands illumined unspoken against waning pilgrim stars. As you rise with the first hint of dawn, the world around you still sleeps under a soft blanket of pre-dawn chill, leaving a moist kiss on the earth beneath your feet. The air holds a tangible tension, a reminder that today's agenda as steward is dictated not by the plans you lay, but by the whims of an unpredictable master-the-weather. Medieval life is intricately interwoven with the elements, and the stewardship of the land often means weathering its vagaries. The early morning light, fragile and timid, barely hints at what the day might bring. You step into the open, eyes instinctively rising to read the sky's story, a sky that alternately caresses and challenges your hold over the manor. The layers of soft grey clouds hint at more than simply atmospheric shifts. They whisper both promise and dread, foretelling the disputes you must orchestrate between ambition and caution. Historians continue to debate the exact role of weather in shaping medieval societies, questioning whether it sculpted civilizations or scattered them, holding sway over the agricultural success and, by extension, the prosperity of entire communities. You know better than most. When nature flexes its capricious muscles, both disaster and abundance loom within the atmospheric balance. Your foremost challenge today is not just awareness, but planning, anticipating weather's influence on the ongoing harvest, the construction of new byres, and the steady beating of daily rhythms across the manor. Its attention, as delicate as the gossamer webbing of early dew-laden strands across the fields, laced with a pattern of diligence mapped by intuition and informed speculation. Reports come in. The approaching storm heralded by a gustier eastward breeze and the eerie shadows cast by filtered sunlight demands a swift shift in priorities. Conversations in the village swell with snippets of old wives' tales and practical preparations, their chatter a hum along your path. You gather the manor's workforce, laying out a plan to secure valuable resources. Stacks of hay are tarped and tied. The roof materials for a new barn are checked and double-checked against a rushing timeline. Even the livestock display unease, movements jittery against an invisible pact alive within bone-deep perceptions unseen. Amid this chaos of preparation, a quirky tradition surfaces as it recounts how tying a length of rope 3 times around the longhouse ensures the storm's safe passage over one's home. Whether it's novelty or necessity, engaging in these customs weaves texture into the community's memory and an additional layer of connection. Encouraging participation brings an odd comfort, a shared sense of taking action, however small, against the forces beyond. The concern is not unfounded. Storms can test patience and structures alike. You recall years gone by where sudden torrents claimed harvests and swamped granaries, indecipherable responsibilities submerged beneath raging waters and quelling hopes. Today, vigilance maintains its station outlined by crisp commands, metered by rhythmic heartbeats embodying reluctant valor yet unswayed. As noon passes and the sky darkens unmistakably with gathering clouds, you rally those under your stewardship to focus on risk mitigation, dance between nature's hand and humanity's resolve. Fires are prepared to ward off the chill brought by the frenzy in the atmosphere, as secure thresholds promise warm than unyielding embrace that will hold fast against the storm. Once the last hayloft corner has been shored up and the cottages battened down, you venture to the manor's upper window, watching as the tempest begins its inevitable descent. Rain descends in sheets, driving away clarity, obscuring both the boundaries of the land and your own thoughts amid roiling reaches. The thunder's applause echoes across shadow shrouds harboring sudden downpours, rebounding in testimonies of enduring resilience trusted upon capricious winds. Now beyond uncertainty, you shelter within the walls of the manor, ensuring everyone is under protection, warmed by the glowing hearths. The storm, relentless in its exertion, provides a begrudging reprieve-ending tendrils of trees swaying capably, tangibly testing roots' grounded grasp. By the time the storm rolls past, leaving the manor washed and gleaming under its resurgence, music vibing truth amidst echoes, communally spared it reprieves with an offer of tranquility. Only slight breezes sigh through willows, yet trembling onskis, horizon's fortant horizon. Emerging fully into evening's embrace, you survey rain-drenched grounds anew, basking in the day's temporary victory over nature's imposition. For now, peace prevails in reverent pauses, holding each shared possibility secured or calmly arrayed within revealing gestures, generously assuring tomorrows, amid spinning shadows speak infinite warmth, brewing strangely auspicious beneath Chloe's tender sway binding ageless obligation, still sheer beneath heaven's grace. Together, swayed by resilience and the fleeting presence of both wandering winds, justice waits in vigil, safe amidst gentle caress, adorned ready class for youthfully sortings, displayed unyieldingly with grace. With evening's glow, casting reflections of the storm's aftermath across familiar grounds now reigned anew, in a imbued with timeless potential, embedded within today's quietly meditative resolve, within history's shifting scheme, wistfully, illumined as a tapestry-folded potential, awaits unbroken anew, reliant across eddies unscrewed by destiny's embrace, subtly emboldened, quaintly reinvented within delicate passage, eternal, unconfound. The manor awakens under a canopy of crystal-clear skies, the scent of earth mingling with the crispness of morning air, an encouraging sign for a day focused on the tangible progress of building and expansion. Today, as steward, you engage with the physical manifestation of your responsibilities, overseeing the necessary repairs and potential expansions that promise not only practicality, but legacy. Your tasks commence with a walk around the manor grounds, a ritual survey of its walls and roofs, doors and windows, paths and courtyards. These structures, both enduring and ever-changing, stand as a testament to the generations who have called this place home. Each addition and alteration a chapter in the ongoing story of stewardship. Today's focus is the Barna stout edifice that promises both shelter and sustenance for livestock, recently weather-worn and in need of repairing. It's a humble structure by design, but central to the estate's operations, ensuring livestock are safeguarded against future tempests and nurtured within protective arms of timber and straw. You stand with the master builder, assessing the repair's scope. His gnarled hands and experienced eye provide a sense of surety, evidence of the countless constructions and reconstructions that have shaped not only the landscape, but also the community's resilience. Your dialogue dances between practicality and ambitiona, blend of immediate repairs and future expansions, reflecting vision's breadth, as rooted as tree-bound foresight, amid forests, shadowing fields, intended for harvests, eternal. Savor. Historians continue to debate the impact of architectural endeavors in medieval life, measuring not just the physical growth of estates, but also cultural expression and the consolidation of power they represent. For stewards like you, these projects reinforce stability, a visible reminder of productivity, and the wealthy, timeless future stretching forth a canvas for the prosperity of those whom you serve. As discussions conclude, you make the necessary arrangements to commence the repairs. The workers arrive, their tools jangling in time with their footsteps, spirits buoyed by the clear sky and the promise of a shared goal. You nod approvingly as they begin, each swing of the hammer and scrape of chisel echoing through the morning, a harmonious blend of muscle and craft, as rhythmically as any orchestra. Your presence matters here, walking among them, offering guidance and solving the small dilemmas that inevitably arise. A missing tool, perhaps a splintered beam needing reinforcement. Every decision embodies a foil where decisions harmoniously gratify, stakes beyond wood or mortar alone, creating pockets of built environments textured anew by residing soul's harmony placed within substituted calm. Next, you turn to the manor house itself, where plans for a modest expansion must soon be realized. You envision an additional wing, a sanctuary balanced on the shoulders of the existing structure. This project is about more than bricks and mortar. It's an investment in the future. Within its walls, space will make room for learning or congregation, fulfilling ideals held close amid ever-shifting horizons. New areas are both challenge and opportunity. The selection of plans and dimensions that align with both the present and future needs of those within your care, expanding not merely the manor's footprint, but its capacity to nourish, educate, and inspire. Such expansion requires not just resources and labor, but imagination of vision, born from experience and honed by action. With afternoon stretching towards evening, you assertively oversee progress, watching as the barn's repairs form strength anew, sheltering animals within kindly crafted keepsakes. The laborers perform their tasks with diligence and determination, watched by your approving gaze. Their unified efforts a testament to teamwork forged over creaking wagons and hastily sewn sails. Finally, as twilight's softened hues give way to the encroaching night, you hold within your hands the knowledge that today's victories lay not only in brick or timber secured, but newfound trust placed confidently within fortified structures, promising tomorrow's gifted perspective. This shared sense of accomplishment both confirms and inspires quiet satisfaction, in witness to the enduring legacy anchored within the promise of those who labor and the lives they adorn anew across windswept fields, within inspirited mansions of clay-bound shadow. As night envelops the renovated landscape, you reflect upon these seemingly humble achievements, profound, expansive efforts, cradled within restored dimensions, illuminating starlit paths. The manor, freshly adorned, stands sentinel against time's embrace, further emboldened to greet the morrow's unspoken, yet kindled warmly upon fruition's boughs, proudly testament to celebrated accomplishments, enriched by lineage, united into eternity. Sung, soft, drenching footfall layers gleam serene against exploration, and renewal's hearth-bound wares stablish once more as veiled, pervasive. Stars lullaby awake. As daylight spills into the manor through gently frosted windows, your thoughts turn to the essential reprieves that offer respite from the daily grind, art, and entertainment. Today, as the steward, you explore how such cultural flowerings provide joy and transcendence amidst the toil and monotony of medieval life. It's a nurturing of the spirit that complements the cultivation of the land. The day begins with preparations for a visiting minstrel troupe, anticipated for weeks by the manor's residents. Their arrival heralds a temporary departure from the routines that anchor the estate, a chance for every Oni noble, servant, and villager alicato partake in the revelry that transcends social strata. For a short while, the manor turns into an alight stage, where music and merriment reign, promising flickers of delight that touch all corners of its mellow breath. Your duties find you pacing the great hall, ensuring the appropriate accommodations are made. The hearth crackles with anticipation, and tapestries are shaken free of dust, vibrant in their depiction of stories sewn with intricate threads. Long tables, usually laden with workaday meals, are adorned with the promise of something different: platters of spiced meats, stewed fruits, and casks of ale, their abundance shared among guests, united by truce within common cause. As the troupe arrives, colourfully clad and buoyant with the allure of artists, a ripple of excitement spreads through those gathered, a shared inhalation preceding the night's unfolding. Their instruments a lute, a harp, a set of drums constructed from wood and string, humble yet profound in masculine fables, produced with melody's rhythm. These minstrels carry more than notes. They bring stories woven into the fabric of song, drawing upon history and imagination to transform the mundane. With introductions made, the performance begins a blend of melodic prowess and engaging dialogue, each song a vignette of love, valor, or mirth. The minstrel's voice, resonant and clear, fills the hall, capturing the attention of all who listen. The sound resonates deep within the stone walls, its intricate passages echo, lifting even hardened spirits to wonder's realm painted anew by cadence alone. Historians still argue over the role of minstrels and jesters in medieval society. Were they mere entertainers, offering a temporary escape from the harshness of peasant life? Or did they hold a deeper role, serving as influencers and commentators encased within the safety net of song and jest? From your perspective, its vestiges hold both the artful expression of shared experience and humor binds communities to potential beyond. Throughout the night, the narrative shifts from raucous ballads to poignant laments, each note reflecting shared milestones along life's journey, imbuing even the humbled villain with brief, cathartic redemption. Laughter echoes loudest in quiet moments, affection blooming under candles' simmering sultry glow. Joy shared through harmonic strings ties quick passage to a future together, through stories eternally given flesh beneath ancient rafters. As the evening lengthens, eliciting dance and drink compel the night to attune more quickly than expected. Beneath twirling beams, chanting fades religiously in embrace, while hopes forge anew beneath promise-laden horizons clair obscure, cautiously minted through celestial dreams. Fresh thoughts of renewal settle gently, evocative whispers of kind creation binding ever near. Once the embers in the hearth succumb to the gentle pull of tomorrow's dawn, the gathering disperses, its essence woven into dreams captured and shared. Illuminated hallways soften in lingering afterglow, whispering acknowledgments across aging beams enrobed once more within familiar enfolding. In the quiet that follows the departure of the last guest and the final strum of the lute, you reflect on the vibrant tapestry of the evening, the transformative power of art and entertainment in lifting spirits, in kindling hope. Perhaps this is where stewardship meets inspiration beneath profound shadows, fragmented as they reflect upon age-mellowed surfaces. Art within time's grasp fulfills myriad roles along possibility's path, transforming anew through echoes reshaped by bravery. Yet grateful solace over passages known softly begins life incarnate, its promise reborn as pure legacy, coursed among endless stars, danced ingeniously towards solace. All rest shall divine echoes, glide through gentle chords, firm treasure, bound and bounded, warmth, well-spaced within night's calm rest, situated amid the imagination's embrace, forgivingly attuned, sacredly, creased tranquil hillows, forgot less than warmly, side compass, unwielded, fluidly, unwavering beneath vivid stars quietly, watching bemusedly grounded upon the night's bestowed serenade, aurora lit vigilant, awaiting destiny's hue, subtly unfolding gently, awash amidst perpetual whispers stride, ageless arise. As a new day dawns, a sense of anticipation courses through the manor, igniting the notion that life can, on occasion, transcend its habitual rhythm. Today, the air crackles with excitement, for it is a day dedicated to feasting and fairs a brief escape into the jubilant heart of communal celebration. As steward, your role is to balance between the lavish preparation and the ordered chaos such events bring. The early morning light breaks over the fields, casting a golden glow on preparations already underway. You stand at the heart of these endeavors like a commander marshalling their troops, ensuring harmony and precision amid the clatter of barrels, the hustle of tent raising, and the cheerful buzz of anticipation. Onlookers scurry to and fro, adding finishing touches to the stalls with meticulous care, each movement imbued with the promise of joy. Highlighting the day's festivities is the grand feast, a collective endeavor designed to showcase the abundance of the harvest, transforming everyday sustenance into a lavish exhibition of culinary delight. The kitchen is a hive of energetic activity, filled with the aroma of roasting meats, baking pies, and the sweet scent of honeyed confectionaries. It is with more than a gentle hint of pride that you survey this assembly, each dish an ode to prosperity and teamwork, a testament to the toil of the manor's kitchens. The fare draws in villagers and travellers alike, converging from the far-flung reaches of the region. The bustle and noise meld into a joyous symphony, clink of coins exchanged at colourful stalls, laughter shared among friends, children chasing one another through sun-dappled alleys. Jugglers and musicians play their roles, the children's eyes alight with wonder, while merchants delight in the eager crowd exploring their wares. Around you, merriment swells, and you can't help but feel a sense of communal accomplishment. At the centre of it all stands a maypole, its ribbons fluttering playfully in the breeze, inviting participants to weave intricate patterns in festive dancer, jubilant merry-go-round of colours bound together beneath the sky's watchful eye. Historians still debate the origins of these rituals. Did they signify merely pagan revelry, transmuted into Christian celebration, or do they embody a deeper significance tied to the cyclical nature of life and labor? Your perspective embraces the notion that such endeavors unite communities in both depths of hope and breadth of shared refuge beneath the skies. Every table and corner pulses with activity, card games unseen for days past, now rediscovered in laughter-laden afternoons, while whispers of promises, shared in bew round belly beckoned, squarely within dancing cults ornate. Among the highlights is a spirited contest of archery, where villagers flaunt their skill, eyeing the distant target with quiet concentration, drawing back their bows with a silent promise of precision. Thwack the arrows find their mark, accompanied by cheers and applause, each bullseye a victory revered. Meanwhile, a tapestry unfolds before you, composed of diverse stories spinning under the canopy of a shared sky. Nobles and common folk alike participate, mingling in rare camaraderie, coaxed into a dance governed by the music of carefree hearts and unbridled spirits. Talking, laughing, cups clinking with ale, allow fading stress to drift away in deference to mirth. As twilight approaches, mingling shadows and lantern light into a comforting embrace, the evening beckons to its audience, a grand banquet amidst tables adorned with fragrant garlands and torches, reflecting boldly in the dining hall. The reflection cast beneath enthralling plaques and pillars softens parables dictated by humbled grace, spun warmly in gleeful bounty, refined now to mix-free circumstance entranced, liberally appointed through banquet, prodigiously engaging, fair, plays mild temperament, likely waning presently subtlety showed mine. Even as the gala draws to its naturally poignant conclusion, the bonds forged and reaffirmed throughout the day remain. They manifest as whispers and farewells under the watching star's brief but effervescent portrayal of joy, ever seeming easy-flowing, never-ending. With night falling softly, you retire to your quarters wrapped in a sense of satisfaction, the melodies of the day tracing gentle circles upon your mind. Each echoing laugh and cheer holds an essence, a promise lain bare that life, though fraught with hardship, also holds the capacity for beauty and bliss memories, both formed anew with grace and unwavering, coursed against temporal currents, convening warmly upon jubilant cycles, astride wisdom, touched visage, medicinally content, nestled, provide ancestors, grace, establishing gently intentions, divine reveries, unsparing, eternally unbarred. Beneath the night sky, you think of tomorrow, when the manor will resume its everyday rhythm. But there rests a warmth, knowing that fair folk, fleetingly turned kin, find unison and rekindle each path endless within all secret dreams awaited once more anew. All drawn enchanted beneath heavenly auroras, bright-tinted wise hearts, beats, restored, diligent, coolly, encouraged, zealously, esteemed, grounded. Previous chapters, recounted wisely as perspective, dances quietly on the night's unrefined breeze. As the first light of dawn pierces through the mists like a gilded sword, the manor awakens with an air of quiet determination. Today, your duties as steward take on a more martial aspect, the preparation and readiness for potential conflicts and the understanding of weaponry and warfare. Even in times of apparent peace, the undercurrents of unrest necessitate vigilance and preparedness, ensuring that the estate and its people stand firm against any adversarial forces that might threaten. The courtyard is abuzz with the rhythmic clang of metal striking metal, a symphony of sharpening blades and the hushed murmur of strategy. The manor's small garrison, though humble in size, must be adequately trained and equipped. Their readiness is a testament to the potential leanings of fortune, often capricious and unbidden. As steward, your role is to observe and coordinate these preparations, maneuvering resources and needs with a focus honed as keen as any sword edge. Today's goal involves a drill for the militia, a demonstration organized more to foster cohesion and familiarity than to bask in martial prowess. The men gather, their expressions a blend of seriousness and camaraderie. They are tenants, peasants, and tradesmen, who, at a moment's notice, might need to wield weapons in defense of their homes. Their trust in your guidance forms an invisible armor, guarding the heartbeat of the community anchored here. The armory, a reliable trove of arms and equipment cloaked in the scent of oiled leather and cold steel, becomes the day's sanctuary. Within its confines, swords and shields, spears and bows are maintained with care, each an extension of purpose and history revered. You oversee the distribution of these weapons with precision, mindful of the historical and practical fabric entwined into each piece's core. Every rustle of chainmail and heft of wood communicates stories that bend time and resourceful imagination. As practice begins, an air of quiet intensity cloaks the training ground. Commands snap through the air, clear and purposeful, an unconscious past tethered to animated resolve. Formations are practiced, and maneuvers rehearse the disciplined dance of warriors in training, reflecting the dual strength inherent both physically and mentally. While bows thrummingly release arrows skyward, their arcs imitating raptors' fleeting passage, your judicious eye marks each strike for measured evaluation. Historians still engage on the significance and role of the militia. Did they serve as crucial defenders of the realm? Or were they merely ceremonial in a growing tide of professional armies? From your vantage, they represent both a practical necessity and a noble tradition. Fighters bound not by ambition, but by commitment to community and legacy enduring. After distributing the arms, you ensure ongoing support for morale, recognizing its effective potential more brightly than any forged blade. Speeches emphasize shared destiny, inciting courage while acknowledging unyielding fortitude incarnate sense, directly inspired through limitless unities shared. The tales of heroic defense mingle unobtrusively with anticipated feats of valor, the spirit buoyed alongside earthbound dwellings past hallowed present. The exercises turn from structure to strategy, lasting well into the afternoon as the sun blazes overhead, casting strong shadows over the training ground. The men's focus sharpens with each drill, instilling newfound confidence in their budding martial skills. Familiarity, abstract in inception, now manifests into blossoming proficiency. Even ephemeral sunshine grows tired. Its light slipping away, reluctant strategies are whispered over remedial warmth upon shoulder bars and fires fully kindled. You gather the men for debriefing, congratulating them for their discipline and dedication, words bolstered by the echo of steel song engraved across the heart of the assembled. With the day's demands met, you return to the manor's comforting interior, contemplating the contentment derived from such collaboration. Today has furnished more than security readiness. It has refortified the collective spirit shared among men and fields astride, demands poised unexplored beyond mere martial aspects, thereby contained. The palpable sense of unity achieved permeates the evening air, encouraging reflection as you seek moments of solace within the embrace of shadows lengthening softly across the landscape. It is amidst these intimate thoughts that the understanding of stewardship becomes clear in endeavor, both bold in vision and secure in the knowledge that at the heart of community lies strength born within tenacity. As gentle night descends upon the manor, cloaked in familiar darkness, and the twinkling promise of tomorrow's promise, peace settles into its eternal rhythm. The land rests, quietly secure in its own continuation, buoyed by those who stand vigilant against challenges whispered in the twilight breeze. Even as hushed stars await newly heralded nobility's veiled announce of harmonious symphony, celestial unseen poised reflection, sings of journey apropos of aptly woven legacies astray, momentarily uplifted, freshly unwavering sublime within, destiny's portrayal tenderly adorned. As you awaken to the soft morning glow, the manor stands silent, yet beneath its stillness lies the compelling undercurrent of change. Today, as steward, your gaze turns outward, toward the wider world where shifting cultural tides influence your estate and the lives within it. The passage of time brings not only progress and innovation, but also the subtle erosion of old certainties, as new ideas and customs weave into the tapestry of everyday life. The day begins with news on the distant Horizona trading caravan having arrived at a nearby town, its path carrying whispers of change alongside exotic goods. As the steward, part of your role extends to staying attuned to these shifts, maintaining a balance between tradition and adaptation, ensuring the manor thrives amidst the shifting sands of cultural change. Your morning rounds take you through the village, engaging with its inhabitants while absorbing the undercurrents of discourse flowing among them. Conversations dance on the wind, threading topics of unfamiliar wares brought by traders, along with glimpses of novel ideas that challenge age-old perspectives. The world is expanding, not just in tangible goods but in intellect and experience, drawing all into a broader human tapestry. The heart of today's agenda lies in a meeting with representatives of a group of merchants, newly arrived strangers bearing silk and spices. Their presence hints at newfound wealth and opportunity. Their wares evoke both curiosity and skepticism within the villagers, the fabric of society tensing under the weight of the unfamiliar. You understand this is not simply a matter of exchange. It is a dialogue between worlds, a broadening of borders defined by market stalls and open roads alike. Historians are often divided on the nature of such interactions, whether they represent the inexorable march of progress, heralding an era of enlightenment, or if these influences inflame tensions, challenging the existing balance. Yet from your perspective, each question asked, and each answer met, underscores the heart's enduring dialect, far echoes renewed, your quiet witness shared among wise recourse binding entwined. The meeting unfolds with a mix of formality and warmth, the merchants presenting their goods with flourish and eloquence, fine fabrics dyed in hues unknown to the manor, spices whose scent conjures visions of distant lands, vibrant yet contained within modest parcels. You engage, weighing risks against rewards, understanding that with this transaction might come even broader implications than mere trade alone. By noon, negotiations conclude, and you escort the visitors as they journey on, leaving wares promising diversity and interest admired by eager hands. Their departure signifies the introduction of fresh elements into this ancient setting, where not only goods strain feet beneath variances revealed, but the road's invisibility upon which we wander essence hold nobility. Untied new spectres, unwinding within imagination's tender clasp, mid-encounter composed. In these quiet moments, you reflect on how these cultural exchanges seep gently into the fabric of society slowly, persistently reshaping the contours of everyday life. The children's games evolve, inheriting influences from travelers' tales. Songs sung in the village square adopt new melodies and rhythms discovered in foreign courts. There is a palpable sense of awakening, of possibilities undreamed, paving paths where steps once unconsciously trod. As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant strokes of gold and crimson, you stroll through the village again, observing how the day's activities weave into the communal narrative. Among the familiar sounds of closing stalls and the gentle slumber of livestock, there is an undeniable whisper of change, transforming the manor into a vessel of amalgamation, harbinger of future ambition quietly held. With evening's gentle embrace drawing nearer, you find yourself within the manor's comforting halls, soothed by the warmth of hearth and heart alike. The allure of cultural change provides opportunities for creation and nurturing life's endless melodies anew. Beneath unnumbered stars, encircling adolescent horizons, enamored gently caressed. With newfound resolve, you hold fast to the horizon internally manifested, ensuring that through tradition's clasp, heritage grows both strong and unbreakable. As shadows gather, optimism threaded through silken strands greet the night, unfolding joy tenderly revealing treasures of newfound embrace, ever influenced intricately enfolded, within restored entanglements, hallowed upon beckoning shores of evolving culture, tied softly to destiny's holdings divine, amidst infinite mists gracious embrace of widening child grace. As daylight graces the manor once more, its gentle rays glancing off stone and timber, you find yourself contemplating the end of an era and the dawning of unforeseen challenges. Today, as steward, you must not only manage the present, but also gaze resolutely into the distance, navigating the transformative shifts that suggest a world on the cusp of change. The day begins quietly, the manor's occupants stirring into dappled corridors of sunlight that spill reassuringly among time-worn paths. But beneath this tranquility lies the whisper of transitioner, convergence of new technologies and ideas, each casting long shadows upon traditions held long and dear. In this moment, stewardship transcends the immediate, attending to the connections between what is and what could be. Your first task involves an anticipated visit from scholars individuals whose fascination with innovation and thought explore beyond the conventional scope of manor dealings. Their visit symbolizes a shift toward knowledge and learning, an intellectual curiosity that begins to ripple outward into fields and furrows. Though hierarchs may tread courageously upon pages keel-pillowed, you recognize boundless promise yielded by unclouded skies, undrawn spanning life-equipped gentle revelations gently scribed. As you meet with these scholars, their breathless excitement permeates the air like incense. Together you discuss the changes sweeping across the landscape, emphasizing the emergence of written resources and burgeoning academic pursuits. Their ideas are intoxicating: methods for improving agriculture, discussions of governance reform, and even clamor for disseminating knowledge far and wide an enlightenment slowly dawning. Historians continue to question whether local endeavors in learning and thought streamlining inspired significant progression or merely fueled ambition's shift, felt tethered by hallowed halls, steadfastly resisting. Dissonances thrumming intuition. As steward standing at this crossroads, you recognize potential swirling within measures unheard of, yet opportunely present presentiments revealed. Once the scholars depart, escorted with promises of collaboration, resounding amidst farewell breezes, tracing wisteria's bloom, animate with song heralding fruition anew, you shift focus to the mechanics of change, examining modestly powered tools and innovations introduced by crafty craftsmen. Tentatively cautious adaptation seeks unveiling. Here, a new plough design promises to plough deeper, promising more fruitful harvests from the same familiar soil, emblematic of evolution, promising destiny-recognized alternating rhythm. In the afternoon you gather the villagers, sharing insights gleaned from morning discourse, incremental dialogues woven into wreaths wrapped within understanding. Their faces reflect curiosity, entwined amiably with relishing. Each listener conceives new patterns unshaped among Earth's lore, forceps heightened work instilled within ardent labor, hearts unmoved until fully stirred, harmony-bound heirlooms reflecting conservatively new creation perfumed. Protean Juncture, an afternoon hush enfolds, as those succulent discoveries drawn deep carry through twilight's bloom, a knowledge enriched, poised as legacy's breadth, conducting departures in transition spoken easily where echoes behold. For with change comes strength and often courage to embrace passages, uncertain fulfilling connections affirmed and intimacy shared reverently. Life's compass-grained thoughts become vessels momentarily brightened against evolution's unveiled folds. As evening descends, painting darkened silhouettes that embrace manor, spires genteelly crowned cloak reverie seldom sought, tomorrow's anchored fortune met gently, generous colossal night, a glow promised lasting warmth, cast embark assured. No longer content with mere survivability, manor and manor dwellers transform amid softened meditative contemplation towards realms newfound and vast. You reflect on these shifts tempered with possibilities brewing quietly beneath sheltered cover. The manor, once standing testament to age-long assurance, now shapes history's cadence, by boundless imagination, sparking futures, allure perceived, galore expanded graciously, within familiar bounds, once eschewed. Can fruition, known be ever closer sang-stars, willed to unravel erstwhile hopes, forged by clime's enchantment, sound retrieved afresh amongst dreams' discordant clasp. In the manor's heart, where firelight guardians animate ancient walls with gentle warmth, you ponder what lies ahead. The architecture of destiny, invitingly poised to accept changing currents, strung mildly by silence, ruling night, mainly tender melted in twilight's hue, unite constellations crowned lightly traipse, and so you persist, guided by both tradition, steady, and discovery, keen reeling, woven tapestry, tempered, aspired, dedicated anew, seeks enfold tranquil, tender, celestial wonderment, arrived long through decades, magnificently recounted, gently, serenely, spirited, aglow retard at measure silently unfold pathways now ventured aloud. Gently entrusted brotherhood, unchanging finds remembrances, assigned familiar pathchos that trace lives. Gentle history, fortifying, fixed, breathlessly anew, carried lofty cadence, serenades, song caresses, lightly soothes, pondering mode. enfolding of life's broader journeys yesterday cherished. Gently assure providence bound, subtle bend, adorned actuality, cherished resilient through endeavor heroic, unbounded resolve. Forever open tomorrow's page, embrace perpetuity, enfold immaculately rounded, projected, leagued like stars, arrayed, secure in myriad luminous abode. As dawn lifts the veil of night one last time, its tender light spills across the manor with a quiet promisor prelude to reflection as this journey through the era of the medieval steward draws to its gentle close. The day ahead offers a chance to quilt together all the cloth-worn tales, to muse upon the legacy and lessons of stewardship that have unfolded within these timeless stone walls. Today, you dedicate yourself to contemplation, celebrating not just the survival, but the endurance of those who tread this path before. Your morning routine unfolds, like the pages of a well-loved tome familiar and comforting. Every step down the worn path feels heavier with the awareness of the past, the echo of countless footsteps impressed into earth, stories and sacrifices committed to the annals of time. From the wafting embrace of the hearth to the resonant creak of ancient doors swinging open, the manor breathes with accumulated memory. Pausing in the great hall, you stand amidst shadow and light, the filtered sun drawing patterns upon the flagstone's tapestry wonderfully familiar, tied with the threads of daily life. Figures move with quiet purpose around you as they set about their tasks, a community unfolding in seamless rhythm. Here, within the convergence of stone and spirit, every nook and cranny whispers secrets if you pause long enough to listen. You ponder how the steward's role evolved along myriad paths attending to land and people, welfare and justice. Each effort and decision forms an intricate mosaic, a narrative carefully layered by choices weaving preservation and growth. These responsibilities transcend mere management. They echo as incarnations of navigated hope sojourns within journeys that progress from daybreak to destiny, called gently forth unforeseen. Historians agree that stewards across ages held vital roles, forging continuity and stability within the fractured landscape of medieval life. Your perspective converges on this point, appreciating the mastery demanded by duty and discipline the finely tuned dance, meditated gracefully between authority exercised and compassion bestowed as essence uncovered. Through this role emerges a profound connection to the land, to its people, poised unearthly within equitable breath. As the sun reaches its zenith, you journey to the outer fields, shared between tilled earth and sunlit sky, tranquil landscape unfurled against horizons, tenderly whispering transformation, without limitation's edge. You stand enveloped by the season's reverberation, a synthesis entwined a sensory communion between past and future, memory and anticipation restored. Amidst this reverie, you find peace in the realization that stewardship transcends its era, breathing meaning into unfolding eras, retold with vision and continuity. The manor's strength lies in its nuanced cycles, the ceaseless journey of nurturing and protection, echoing indefinitely through corridors shaped by ancient wisdom, interlaced with promises aspiration anew. With evening descending like the curtain of a drawn tableau, you return to the manor one final time. The journey's promise becomes a gentle echo, lulled into the present's embrace. Beneath the sheltering beams, the hearth's glow yields its warmth, and you know that though this chapter closes, its narrative threads coil into future stories, poised against starlight stories, bound to unfold anew, guided by experiences both unexpected and timeless. Thus, as twilight sighs serenely into night's quiet breath, you hold sacred what endures the meaningful pulse of stewardship, the ceaseless dialogue between humanity and its earthly abode, enduring grace, confirmed through spheres radiant unfurling retold, amid scenes gently purred onward, and with tender acceptance turns a steadfast heart toward eternity, deployed in wisdom, birthed anew. With the final farewell echoing softly as the manor settles into night's embrace, newfound clarity grows within stars, anon poised beneath ethereal arches. So comes rested, reflection embraced anew, yielding silent crescendos melisma, spun temperance, grateful for life's cherished verities sanctified, rejoicing midst joy, turned rhythm of transforming, echoed heaven reworn of stewards, entrusted deeply within their softly flowing spirit-drawn gentle charms, 'neath shaded night rise. Sweet dreams.